Welcome, everybody. We're excited to bring you an update to the Planning for Profit software platform that just hit this week. The changes really surround the entire job section. Now, for those of you who used to use the old version of the software, you knew that the job pricing calculator used to be under the calculator section, and we pulled that out into the job section. And the reason why we did that is because we had planned for this change to happen all the way along. Let's take a closer look at the software, and I'll walk you through those changes. Now, what we've done is in the job section itself, as I go to that area, you'll see that, again, we brought in there both the job pricing calculator as well as the job hours tracking report. And again, these two are now tied together with this new update. And essentially what we've done is we've given you the ability to do some light job costing on the job to find out, did I actually hit the profitability targets that I thought I would, that I was planning to when I quoted that job? Let me walk you through exactly how this new tie-in works. So I'm first going to go into the job pricing calculator. So I jump into there, and as I screen, again, just like we always do, we have to first select the department that you're going to be quoting this job for. So in my case, I'm going to be using my installation department. As I scroll down and look, you'll see that the actual layout of that screen has changed a little bit. What we've done is we've actually got the left-hand side is your job pricing calculator pricing the job out, and on the right-hand side of that screen is now getting into job costing. So a couple of different ways that we can use this one. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and quote a job. Let's call it. We'll call it Bill's test job. We'll go down. Again, these screens are exactly the same as they used to be. They're just simply laid out a little bit differently. So I'm going to say that this job is going to take 32 man-hours to complete. We've got $5,000 in materials, and we've got $100 in subcontractor cost. Now, just like before, the materials margin or markup, depending on what you used, is coming from the cost input section and how you entered materials there for this given department. Same thing with subcontractor, either markup or margin is being pulled from there. So that's where these numbers are being populated from, just like was the case before. I'll go ahead and hit my calculate button here up in the upper right-hand corner, and when I do that, the software will now generate, and there we go. It's now come up with the pricing for this particular job. And again, our target rate was $35 per hour. That's what we set for this particular department. So at that current rate of $35 per hour, we should bill this job out, or basically quote it out at $8,387 and change. And if we do that, that will generate, again, I can see our profit dollars as well. And if I get out of the way, you can see the profit percentage over here. Now, if I look at that particular job, and I'm just going to kind of stand out of your way here a little bit, I can see that this job with that pricing is at 18.89%. Now, you might say, wait a minute, that's a little bit high. I mean, it'd be nice to actually get 18.89, but maybe that would actually price me out of the market. Really, what I'm looking for is to be closer to 15%. So one of the things that we've done here is before the job pricing calculator actually gave you $1 increments up and down from your target labor rate. We've expanded that a little bit to $2 increments, so that way you get a little bit wider breadth of pricing options available to you there. So I can see that if my target is 15%, I could actually quote this job at $8,003, still make my 15% net profit. So if that's where I'm going to quote it at, you'll now see we've got the radio buttons column right here on this side. I can simply choose that's where I'm going to quote this job at, and the software will remember that. Now, last thing I want to do is I want to go down to the bottom, and you see we've added a save button down here. You'll simply click on save. This job is now saved in the jobs database. So again, if I basically go to my top of the list, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh this screen as if I'm starting over. No jobs in there at all, or we're just coming into the job pricing calculator. So I'm going to select my installation department one more time. And as I do that, you can see, again, I've got no detail in my job pricing calculator. We've now added a View Jobs button right here. So when I click on View Jobs, it's going to give me the list of all of the jobs that I've quoted for my installation department. And so when I scroll down on this list, these are all the jobs that I've got in there. And as I get in there, I will find, here's the Bill's test job. that we just quoted out here a minute ago. So I can, at that point, go over to the right and hit calculate. It will bring up all of the detail for that particular job that we had just entered in, as well as remembering what was that job point that we quoted this job at right here at 15%. Now, this is where the job pricing, job costing starts to kick in. Over here on the right-hand side of this screen, I can actually now come in here and enter in, when the job is complete, how many hours did it actually take us to do this job. So let's say, for whatever reason, it actually took the guys 35 hours to get the job done. And we had our $5,000 in materials, and we did indeed have the $100 in subcontractor cost. I enter in those couple of actual data values, and I hit calculate one more time. And what you'll see is it's now going to tell us what our exact net profit was on. We quoted the job at 15%, but in reality, because of the fact that we took more time, we only finished the job at 13%, which is $1,040 in net profit, not the original targets that we had down here of $1,200 right there. Right. So again, it's telling us very quickly what was our actual net profit on the job. Let's say the guys happened to get the job done in 28 hours. Right, and for whatever reason, they ran into a little bit of an issue, and they ended up with $5,100 in material cost. Again, all I have to do is make those changes, hit calculate, and it tells us we finished this job up at 16.41%. We actually did better than we had anticipated. So the software will always tell you that data. Now, I could save this, and if I save it, it's going to go ahead and save this job costing data along with this job as well. But I'm not going to do that at the moment, because I want to show you the second half of the tie-in for this calculator, and that's the job hours tracking report. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to, again, not save this particular job. I'm going to go into the job hours tracking report. And again, job hours tracking, if you're not using this tool, is a great tool to help you make sure the jobs are staying on track while you're doing the job. If you've got a job that's going to take 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it's pretty easy for you to keep in mind, and we're getting this thing done in the number of hours that we had in the quote. But when that job starts spanning a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, or multiple months, now it's a little bit more difficult to keep track. Are we on target to finish this job on time? And that's where the job hours tracking report can help you. And so in here, you can see that, again, I've got all these jobs right now. Here we're looking at the installation department. I've got all the jobs in there, and it's giving me a status. Are they not started? Are they completed? What's the status of these individual jobs? So if I scroll down on this particular list, I will find, right, as I go through there, see all my jobs that are listed, and I will find, here's Bill's test job, that job that I just quoted, and it's not started. Right? So what I can do is I simply scroll over, and I'll kind of get out of the way of the screen here a bit. I'm going to scroll over to the right for that job, and really, again, the action buttons are over here on the right. The resolution of my screen is just real small so you can see it on this video. Normally that will all show up on the same screen. I'm going to hit the 3 dots, and I'm going to choose Edit. And so it's going to bring up the actual job hours tracking report. So again, we've got the job name in there that we put in. That's already there. The department is already set for install because that's where it was quoted for. You need to simply go in here. What type of job is this? Residential versus commercial. That will help you to start to break out your individual jobs. Who's the lead tech on this job? Well, this job is being run by Joe. And then last is, what's the start date of this thing? Well, we started it back here on the 26th. When I look at it, the estimated hours to complete this job, 32 hours. That's what was in our proposal. It's carrying that forward. From there, if there's any change order hours, you can add that here. You can also then go into the percent complete. So what the way that this thing works is each week I can go back to that lead tech. In this case, we said that was Joe. I can go back to Joe and say, Joe, give me your best estimate. How far along are we on this job? And Joe might say, well, we're actually 35% completed. The last box then is how many actual hours have we already charged to the job? How many hours have our installers charged to this particular job? So maybe at this point, we're actually they've used 15 hours. I plug that in. Now, what this tool is telling us, if I look on the other side of it, is that the job had 32 hours in the original bid. Right? That's what we're getting paid for, regardless of how many we actually work. The estimated hours used, right, 11.2. Well, what that's saying is that if we were actually 35% complete on this job, we would have used 11.2 total hours. We're already 3.8 hours behind schedule on this job. Right? We're already on track to finish it 3.8 hours over our bid. Right? And we only have 17 hours left in the bid to finish this job up. So we're already on track to be over the estimate. Right? So I can at that point go in and save this job. It will track this thing each week. What I would do is simply come right back to this particular job. I'm going to go back and I'm simply going to edit it, and I'm going to edit those 2 items. Joe, how far along are we? Joe's saying, okay, we're now 75% done. Or in my case, I'm going to say we are 100% done, and we actually got it done in 35 hours. Right, so at that point, the job is now complete. You can see as soon as I keyed in 100%, it completed the job for us. I can accept that job, and it will now store that data. And on this particular one, we just lost our job type. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. We accept that. I'm going to say, okay. Now, when I come back to that particular job, as I hit the 3 action items button over here on the right, you can see one of the items that we've added in here now is calculate. And when I hit calculate, what it's going to do is bring me right back to the job pricing calculator that we were in a minute ago, and it's going to load up that particular job. And so I can see in here, again, my job parameters, just like I quoted it, but now on the job costing side, you can see the actual hours used. It brought that 35 hours over from the other side. All we need to do at this point is what did we actually use for materials? And on this particular job, we had, again, $5,200 in total materials. We had our $100 in sub. I hit my calculate button at the top, and again, it's going to tell me right here, we actually finished that job up with 10.5% net profit, not the 15 that we were targeting for, which equals a grand total of $840.71. So again, we can use it both ways. I can use the job pricing calculator all by itself, and just simply use at that point, enter in the data into the job pricing calculator or job costing section of the job pricing calculator to make sure that we finished the job where we thought we would. Or we can use the job hours tracking report, and those labor hours will then also carry back into the job pricing calculator for the job costing purposes as well. The tool is live. It's already there. If you log into your account, you're going to find that when you go to job pricing calculator, these new screens already show up. Right? They went live earlier this week. Check them out. Use them every day. Make sure your profitability is coming down exactly where you thought it would be.